Hello, everyone. Shalom. I'm very happy to have you here in our communal gathering of our yoga readers community. Before we begin the reading of Geeta Iyengar's Gem for Women, I have another copy. And we are here today to talk a bit about the community, what it is, how does it work. We have several platforms in which yoga readers is happening in. I will say a few words about myself. I will say a few words about the process of how we are going to read the book and what are the reading units that this book is divided into. Sure. And I will be very happy to hear from you. We will have a dedicated time for having an open discussion. And whenever there are any questions that arise, you can either write them in the chat or open your mic and ask them freely. So I will begin with talking a bit about. Yes.
Am I muted? Hi, this is Sirpa here. I'm actually doing this on my iPhone and I couldn't find how to unmute myself. I'm so sorry, so I couldn't answer your question how to pronounce my name.
Okay, Sirpa.
Now I am unmuted somehow. It's because I couldn't get it my laptop. I'm in a phone. So hello.
Hello,
yes,
Sirpa.
you pronounce it very well, Sirpa.
Okay. Where are you from?
I live in New Zealand, but I'm from Finland.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
So I start with this to tell you all that we are actually a global international community. And when I thought about having yoga readers, I thought about having a bunch of people that would like to read books about Iyengar yoga. And I thought we will be like 20 people. And by now, our Facebook group has over 1,200 members. We have a newsletter with over 200 subscribers. The YouTube channel is really, really big. So I see that most people are joining in the session through recording that are published on YouTube. And we have some hundreds in the WhatsApp group, which is quite fascinating. I mean, it's really beyond everything I could hope for when I started this community. So Yoga Readers was born as an idea to share thoughts about the theory, the philosophy of yoga together. So the idea is to read about it and then discuss the ideas, not just to read about it, have my own opinions about it, and go on with my life, but to really ask questions, hear other people's answers, hear other people's questions. That's very valuable. And then see how we integrate these ideas into it could be our yoga practice, it could be our yogic teaching, or it could be our everyday life. So how to take the knowledge that is presented in yogic books and really integrate it into our lives, not to keep that knowledge in the books. So we are much more than a book club because this is a space where the yoga philosophy, yoga's practice, they all come together. And our conversations, they want to challenge our perspectives. They want to deepen our understanding. And as I said, they want to help us to integrate these teachings into our daily life. So it's much more than just passive reading. And when I was asked about what are the values behind this reading community, I thought about authenticity, since we honor the teachings of BKS Iyengar, the Iyengar family. We are about to read Geeta Iyengar's books. And there is a sense of community since we foster meaningful connections among practitioners and teachers worldwide. It's not me talking and you listening. It's us being together. And another value is having depth and inquiry. So it's about the questions. It's about the discussion. It's about thinking things over and not just receiving them as they are. So what supports our learning or our reading process? We have several sources. So each time we will read, I won't call it a chapter because it is a reading unit. You will get questions, focus questions to guide your reading, and also reflective questions to think about how a certain issue or topic relates to your own practice or life. I will send you weekly reading reminders, like the gentle nudges to stay engaged with the text. I hear feedbacks from some of you that some are reading, like you start the day I tell you to start. Like we start on Sunday, so you sit down on Sunday and you begin the reading. And then by Monday, Tuesday, it's over, and then you have time to think it over. Some tell me that it's just 1 or 2 days before the Zoom session that they feel like they have a deadline. So they like binge read all of it, and then they don't have enough time to really reflect on whatever they read, but they remember because they just read it. So however it works for you, I will keep on sending you reminders about what we are reading. And one of my ways of reminding you which reading unit we are reading is to send quotes that I see as inspirational quotes. So just a few sentences out of whatever we are reading and then kind of contextualizing it. Why is it surprising? Why is it inspiring? Do we agree with it or not? And then we can discuss it on our Facebook group. So while we are reading, I will also send you chapter summary, which are, you told me, a good tool for you to keep the ideas within the reading unit. So if you have the chapter summary, if you read it before you read the reading unit, it gives you like an idea, like a map of what's going on. And if you read the chapter summary at the end, it's kind of a conclusion for you of all the ideas that you've read. And I said, as we are reading, we have our Facebook discussions. And this is something new that I didn't have in the last reading that we had of the Tree of Yoga. I'm going to send you additional materials to help us all deepen our exploration. So these will be supplementary resources. I did try to send you like a paragraph about a mythological story or like a focus on a yogic term, but this is going to be much more elaborate. So if you read something and you have a question, please ask, because that can guide me on what supplementary materials to prepare for you. I had my own ideas, but please, it can be more about communication. So if you have questions, if you have ideas, if you want something to be emphasized, please let me know. And maybe if time permits, I'll create a resource about that as well. So I mentioned books that we read in the past. We started in last May with Light on Life by BKS Iyengar. And then in October, we read The Tree of Yoga. And now April, we're going to start Yoga, A Gem for Women by Geeta Iyengar. And this book is really close to my heart. I will say a few words about it later. So who are the members of Yoga Readers? I'm fascinated by this, so let me share it very briefly. About 57%, it changes as people answer the survey that I sent out. So let's say a bit less than 60% are yoga teachers. So we can say they are also yoga practitioners, right? But these are experienced yoga practitioners. And I welcome the teachers since I believe that you bring deep insight and practical knowledge to the discussion. And of course, the rest, the 40%, are all yoga practitioners. I'm also curious if there are people here who don't practice and don't teach yoga, but if they are here, it's a few. So most of our community, or at least those who answered the survey, are either yoga practitioners or the majority is yoga teachers. And we have a predominantly mature practitioners with a majority over 40, and some are over 65 years old. And we have a global reach, which means that yoga readers is now happening in North America, in the United States and Canada, in Europe, in Germany, in the UK, in France. I know now of new members joining from Hungary, or that I'm very happy about. Many from South Asia, India, China, and other countries. Some come from the Middle East, like from Israel. We have from Australia and New Zealand, Africa, South Africa, and we also have members from Mexico and Latin America. So if I did not mention the country you are from, please, when time comes, open your mic and let me know where you are from. So let me say a few words about myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Viti. I'm a scholar practitioner. So I've been practicing yoga for over 2 decades, and I've been researching yoga in university, in academia, for over 15 years. But it feels like I started yesterday. So I hold a PhD in religious studies, and that is quite broad. So I've specialized in yoga studies and in Indian philosophy, and also in gender studies. And that was an amazing journey. I will be happy to tell you more about it. So during my PhD dissertation, I focused on women-oriented Iyengar yoga, or women's yoga within the Iyengar yoga tradition. I had the opportunity to interview Geeta Iyengar and, of course, Abhijata Iyengar and Sunita and Prashant, and I will share whatever I can about these interviews. I interviewed over 40 experienced or senior Iyengar yoga teachers for my dissertation, and I've published papers, academic papers, and one book about women's yoga, let's say in a broader sense. And I teach Iyengar yoga in Israel, in Jerusalem. And I feel that I'm always bridging between these two worlds, academia and yoga research, and then the practice of yoga. And in recent years, there are more and more bridges coming together, like this term that I use, the scholar practitioner. So I feel like that through yoga readers, I can bring academic knowledge and theoretical, philosophical yogic knowledge to practitioners and teachers of yoga. So not to keep all this within academia. So before I talk a bit more about this book and why I find it so interesting, I would like you to write in the chat or open the mic and say just very briefly in a short phrase, what does yoga mean to you?
Can I say something?
Please.
I am Lydie Rivière. I am in France. And it's only very recently that I discovered your group. Even though I know some teachers in Israel, and I have been a very long time practitioner and teachers. I have been a teacher for over 30 years in France. So I missed Light on Life. I missed Trio Yoga, but I am very happy to join for Yoga Gym for Women. I have a mentee, So it means that I'm going to use this work to help her in her development. Yeah, and I am just very, very happy and very surprised I am here with you.
And what is yoga for you, Lydie?
Oh my God. Roughly, I could say it's a very, very large part of my life. I was involved in dance, I was involved in Aikido, and when I discovered yoga, and that was in 88. Iyengar yoga I discovered in 88, actually that was in Goa. And I just immediately thought, this is it. This is it. This is the great sentence. This is it. This is what I want to do in my life, to practice and as well to teach. That was very, very quick. That was a very deep feeling. I'm not at all a scholar. Not at all. I am a practitioner, and my experience has developed through observation, through teaching, through going to Pune. I have been to Pune. I am a good friend of Rita Killer and many of others senior teachers. Yeah, and most probably my philosophical knowledge is poor, despite the fact that I have been reading the books. Yeah, so I would say that most of what I have been involving in my life comes from the practice listening to our masters, of course, okay, and watching students, because it's a very, very good way to learn as well.
Thank you, Lydie. Welcome. I will read a few comments from the chat, and if anyone wants to open the mic and talk, you are welcome. So Willie says, stability, yoga is stability. It's very hard, isn't it, to say what is yoga for you very briefly. We want to talk about it because it's our life, isn't it? But it is for me. The Kuka says, yoga for me is the tool and the goal for balance in this crazy world. Oh, I can relate to that. And Danielle says, yoga to me means finding the equilibrium of life in general, and especially in applying and practice of the 8 limbs. Oh, yes, the Ashtanga yoga. We will discuss that. Okay, anyone else wants to share what yoga is for them? I know it's quite general, but it's our first meeting, isn't it, with this book? Okay. Yes, please.
To me, well, I can't find out how to read in the chat, so I'll say to me it's at the moment joy and happiness.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so a few words. Let me share a few words about our upcoming reading, Yoga Gems for Women. This book, like the Tree of Yoga, is a must for whoever wants to become a teacher in the Iyengar yoga tradition. And I do hope with a sincere heart that it will become a must for whoever wants to teach yoga. I know that in Israel, the book has been translated to many, many languages. And in Israel, this is a must for those who want to become teachers of women's yoga, which is a thing in Israel. There is this new tradition of women's yoga, and they read this book as their Bible, let's say. So I'm very happy about that. But I do think that this book is very important. And I did want to share a few words about how important it is. And Geeta started writing it in 1971, and it was published in 1983. I wanted to tell you about the cultural context. I wanted to tell you about the historical context from a point of view of yoga research, like who taught yoga at that time to women and who did not, and how popular yoga was at that time. And then I wanted to tell you about the impact of that book and what happened between 1971 and 1983. Well, a lot. her mother, Ramamani, passed away, and BKS Iyengar, her father, opened his institute. So much happened in those years, and Geeta became the head of the family. In a certain sense, she had to take over all of the chores of the house and to take care of her siblings. So a lot happened in those years, and then a lot happened afterwards. And books came out after this book came out, and so many things. Oh, there was another book that came out by a doctor, a French doctor, about Iyengar yoga and pregnancy. So much happened between the years that she wrote the book. A lot happened before, a lot happened afterwards. And I realized that I can't just sum it up. So what I will do is I will have some time and record all of it and write about it in a post for those who prefer to read about it. And I will also share parts of this importance of this book historically and culturally on Facebook. And I will share it all with you, because otherwise we will just share 1 hour now about talking about how this book is a revolution, not less. Okay, so I'll keep that for later. I will tell you that it is a groundbreaking text, and it represents the first comprehensive guide specifically addressing women's unique relationship with yoga practice. So I'll just hint that in other yoga traditions, if you were menstruating, if you were pregnant, maybe you were not allowed to even practice yoga. So you had to keep away. And in this book, Geeta shares what Iyengar shared in his book, Light on Yoga, that was published in 1966, that come to class, be part of what is going on, but you have to practice a bit differently or a lot differently, depends. So it's more than just physical instructions. It's, for me, like a challenge to historical misconceptions that yoga was not intended for women, generally not intended for women, or more specifically, not intended for women in certain life cycles, let's say. So it gives practical solutions for female practitioners across all life stages. And I have to say that menopause was not talked about in the 1970s when she began writing about it. It's quite amazing that it is in the book. There was something about yoga and pregnancy, and you had to address menstruation if you were going to write about women. And Geeta had a lot of experience with that. But menopause, well, that was also included, and quite amazingly so. So I also want to tell you about who was Geeta Iyengar, but I will also keep that for a different talk, because I do hope that most of you know who she was and why she started practicing yoga, not just why she wrote this book. So what makes it really significant to me is that it has, the book, a balanced approach between a depth of precision of yoga instructions, but also she addresses contemporary women's needs. It can be physiological needs through menstruation and pregnancy, postpartum recovery, and menopause. And also she bridges quite elegantly between Western anatomical understanding with yogic and Ayurvedic perspectives. So she offers these therapeutic applications for women's health conditions, while she also acknowledges modern women's challenge of balancing, let's say, professional and domestic responsibilities. She speaks about the double role of women, which was today, okay, it talked a lot about, but then it was quite revolutionary to discuss it. So this is both a practical manual and a philosophical guide. And I see it as something that empowers women. And for me, it really helped women to take their rightful place in yoga's tradition. She also speaks, we will read it not in this reading unit, but in the second reading unit, she speaks about the ancient women who practiced yoga, which is also a way to connect yoga, women to yoga's tradition and history, not to say, okay, it was closed for women until now, and now let me open the door and let's do something new, and let's call it Iyengar yoga for women. That's not the case. She says women always had a place in yoga, but we have to learn how to practice it. Okay. So I prepared like a reading companion for you to download. Did you get it? Did you download it? Did you print it out? So it's I called it a reading companion. I didn't know really how to call it. It's the first time I'm doing such a thing, and I really hope that this will be helpful for you. So basically, I'll resend it in the link. Basically, it says like the reading unit, the part you're supposed to be reading, and then the main themes. So you can kind of have a conclusion of whatever you are reading. There is a place for personal insights with what touched you in this chapter and how does this connect to your practice. It's quite useful, isn't it? Because you can think about these questions while you are reading instead of just reading passively. And then we have a place for Sanskrit glossary. And this came up in the first book we read with yoga readers, that there is so much Sanskrit sometimes. And you know the Sanskrit, if you've read books about yoga before, you can't avoid it. But sometimes it's quite a lot. So it's good to have like, I don't know, 3 words each time. We have 8 units. You'll have 24 in your Sanskrit glossary. That's quite a lot. And then questions that you have during the read. And then if you write it down here, you can go down to Facebook, WhatsApp, you can email me, whatever, and have these questions and maybe I can answer them. Or you can bring them to the Zoom session. And then a place to have your own quotes, because I'm going to send you my inspirational quotes and you can write your own. And the reason it's folded is because you can just put it in your book and take it out whenever you want to have your own notes. Of course, if you have a notebook, you don't need my reading companion, but I hope it can be helpful for whoever wants to use it. So I'd like to share now our schedule. This is our schedule. I need to make this. Yeah, can you see it? Okay. So these are reading units because this book has a lot of, what do you see do you see the screen sharing is paused when I move to the other part? Who can tell me what you see? You see the schedule now, right? And if I move here, do you still see the schedule? Yes. Okay, good. So I divided it into 8 parts to make it, let's say, feasible. And we begin with Unit 1, which is Geeta's personal story. It's really important to read the foreword, to read the first parts of the book. It's the foreword, it's the preface. These are parts that sometimes we skip because we want to get like to the main dish. But these are important. They tell us about why Geeta started practicing yoga and why she wrote this book. And these motivations are crucial when we get a book like this in our hands. So she tells there about how yoga transformed her health and life. And this actually set the stage for her explorations of yoga's broader relevance for women. She talks about the common misconceptions in this part, like the belief that yoga is not suited for women. And she also introduces key philosophical frameworks like the 4 castes of yoga, okay, the Jnana, Karma, Bhakti, and Raja. And there is also a historical look of women's participation in yoga from ancient Vedic times to the present. And then if we move to unit 2, it's more about how yoga engages with the female body and with the life cycles. She highlights the women's natural physical advantages, like women are more flexible, they have more endurance, and we will have to think about the relevance of these statements for 2025 also. Here she discusses the koshas, or the 5 layers of being, and how yoga is a holistic approach. And a central theme here is the 3 major life transitions for women, which is menstruation, pregnancy, and menopause. But we will talk about the 6 cycles of women's life as well. Then the 3rd unit is like a preparation for the practice. Before we start reading about the asanas, she speaks about the body through traditional Ayurvedic and modern medical perspectives. So there's a bit of anatomy there. And then the ethical principles of yoga, the yama and the niyama. And then there is, for me, this part is the most interesting here, the different levels of engagement with practice, the mild, the middling, and the intense. And she also has practical considerations like creating the right practice environment, choosing appropriate clothing and timing. And then there is, we conclude that unit with a structured 3-year study plan, which is a progressive pathway from beginner to advanced level, which is quite different from what we find in Light on Yoga. And then we go into the asanas. So unit 4, 5, 6, and 7, though 7 is a bit different, are about asanas. And we'll have to think about how we read these parts and what we do in these parts. And I will share my thoughts about it in a moment. So unit 4 is about standing postures and forward bends. Unit 5 is about seated supine and inversions. Unit 6 is about twists, back bends, and rope work. And then unit 7, I said it's a bit different. It's about practice during pregnancy and then advanced practice. And unit 8, our last unit, is about pranayama and meditation. There is a lot of mudras coming there, a lot to read about shavasana and the essence of the more advanced practices. So what I was thinking, and we have time to consider this, is how we will go about the asana parts. It's hard to just read through it. I thought that we can focus on the parts that are women related. So we will read the asanas and through the lens of what is she saying that is different for women in these postures. That's one lens. And when you read it in that way, it for me as a scholar of gender and yoga, that's a very interesting lens to look at. What makes a certain posture for women. Another way we can go around about it is to compare between this work and Light on Yoga, which is basically done in Iyengar yoga teachers' courses, where they take a certain posture and they compare it and they see the differences. And you can say, oh, it evolved because Light on Yoga was published in 66 and written earlier. This was published in 83 and written earlier. So what happened in these, let's say, 20 years, did the postures change the way that they are taught? Another way is to look at the benefits of these postures, like what is it good for, or to compare not just the benefits, but to say, oh, this is advanced. This is taught after this posture. So this is a preparation for this, like to understand where the postures are sequenced, where they are positioned with relation to other postures. So 3 ways to go about it. If we decide to compare, I will need someone who wants to compare to light on yoga. I mean, I will be on Jam for Women, but someone will have to choose one or two postures and compare them to light on yoga. So anyone here or listening to the recording, you can write to me and you will have your time in the Zoom session to show us differences between the postures. And of course, there is also something interesting with the comparison. So these were my thoughts about the asana, how to go about and read these technical parts. So many Iyengar yoga teachers wrote to me, how are you going to read the asana parts? Are you going to skip them? Are you going to just read the theoretical part? And I said, no way, I'm going to skip them. No way. There is gold there. But you have to read it in a certain way to find the gold. You know, when some people in the past went and looked for gold, they took a sieve. You need a sieve when you want to find the gold. So I'll guide you with questions and I have some ideas, but we have to sift through everything to get to it. And what happens if you are a teacher is that you read it and you say, I heard this before, and you miss the gold. So we'll have to be very wise about how we go and read about it. So now I'm done with my extensive presentation. I hope all of you are familiar with the newsletter, with the Facebook group, with the WhatsApp group. And if not, let me know. We also have a website. Do you know our website? There is the whole reading schedule laid out there. Each reading unit will have supplementary material on the website linked to that part. Is this familiar to everyone here? Okay, I'll have to show you. Wait, because not everybody's nodding. Okay, so this is the Yoga Readers website. And underneath, we see join the WhatsApp group, join the Facebook group, sign up for the newsletter, and then you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. And here is the Yoga Readers Guide, which is something completely new that happened when someone started asking me, Adi, how does it work? When are the Zoom sessions? What happens in the Facebook and the WhatsApp group? And then only I realized that it's not so intuitive. So I had to write a guide. You can download it here. So if you go a bit more down, you see our current book. Underneath, there are the previous books that we read. And if you just click on the book, yes, we go to the inner page about Yoga Jam for Women. And here we have the reading companion that you can download. And here is the reading schedule. So for example, we had the special session with Rita Keller just a week ago. So if you click on that, if this is a future event, you can add it to your Google Calendar. I don't know if you are using that feature. On Google Calendar, you can see your local time and you can get a reminder. And there in the Google Calendar event, there is the Zoom link as well. That should make it all easier. And then if you are just going to the website, you can open the Zoom meeting. Okay, so I'll go more. I'll take this down. And here is the recording of the session. So each time I'm posting the recording of the session on our webpage. Okay. And here are, for example, my thoughts about the interview, like an analysis of whatever came up. You can click on that and read it. So under each session, there will be some supplementary sources. So let's say this is our session today. And yeah, it takes time to come up. Anyway, so with each session, you can add it to your Google Calendar and you can see the posts that are related to it. Because sometimes people tell me that they miss stuff that I post on Facebook and that WhatsApp is sometimes too crowded. So I hope that the web page will make it more clear for all of us. So now it's your time to talk. I would like to hear from you. What are you hoping to gain from our joint reading? Or you can tell me about what drew you to this book, why Jam for Women is interesting for you. And you can also share if you have a specific challenge or question about yoga that you hope that this group will answer. It could be physical, it could be philosophical, it could be personal. So someone told me that they are participating in order to do the same for their own students. So they basically take whatever I'm saying and then have a redo in their own country with their own language, one-on-one in their studio, which is amazing. It's another way to spread the knowledge. And Lydie also told us that she's going to use whatever comes up in our sessions to help her student who wants to become an Iyengar yoga teacher. So please, why are you here? What interests you? Anything you'd like to share, please. I would really like to hear you.
Again, I can say a few words. Thank you very much for your presentation. I really enjoyed the way you are speaking. I am not an English speaker, neither you are, I think. But first of all, the language and the clarity of your language, I appreciate very, very much. So you are a scholar, as you say, and it's not very easy in our community to find a colleague, to find someone who can speak very, very clearly about this tough subject of philosophy. And of course, I know we practice and there is an interaction, obvious interaction between the practice and the philosophy. But I do feel that having very clear words will make it shine a little more, make shine the philosophy more obviously, still more obviously. Yes, to be honest with you, the last part, okay, dharana, dhyana, okay. But when it comes to samadhi, my God, it is just so mysterious. And sometimes I feel, okay, obviously I have gained in health and all the first qualities we could speak of during the practice. We get from the practice more clarity as well in my mind. But this last part, sometimes I wonder, should I, is it going to happen? Is it, or should I forget about it and just continue my life as a yoga practitioner, teacher, and do my best, and let's see what will happen. Actually, it's more today what I feel instead of trying to get to the state with I do believe I will not get to this state trying to get to it. I think if it happens and it shows, and yeah. So I'm interested into going to that point, and I will patiently wait for that moment where you will speak about it. And meanwhile, I am absolutely interested to what's going to happen in this period. Yeah, this is my last.
Merci. By the way, I hear that some people are reading in their own, let's say, a language of origin. So they are reading the translation of the Yoga Jam for Women and not the English version. And that's also welcome. I mean, it's sometimes easier to read in a different language. And our discussion here is in English, which is...
Yeah, actually, I have both. I have the French one, of course, and I just got the English one recently. Finding a strange translation at some point. So it can be as well very interesting, yes, to check the translation and to see some differences. Yeah.
Anyone else? You can also write in the chat and I'll just read it out aloud. If you don't want to open the mic or your camera, that's okay.
Yeah.
I, oh, Dan speaking.
Okay, I'll leave.
Yeah, it's just the same. Well, I found those with the previous two books. So the same reason is for enriching my practice and my understanding of yoga. And as Liddy said, in Iyengar yoga, I think the emphasis is more on the practice. And even though, yes, you are, you are the philosophy, you're experiencing it through the practice, but then this adds a different dimension because you're actually, intellectually understanding why you're practicing at the bigger picture. So it's very enriching. Thank you. Thank you, Sophie. Maybe you can share with us what you gained from the previous books, because it might seem like you were here 2 times and it's not enough, maybe. It's never enough, is it?
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, it's still unmuted. Why was not?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, now you can hear me. Hi, it's Sirpa here. Yeah, yeah, I've been practicing this Iyengar yoga now for 17 years, and I think it's through the practice when the interest raises for the hunger for getting more knowledge and understanding of the philosophy part. So it has been naturally just through the practice, I think, the interest has arisen. So I'm really happy joining to this group, and I have been listening all this since you started from the first book, and the second book as well, and now very excited about Geeta's book. So that will be great.
Thank you.
Maybe I can continue. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, jó reggelt. Hello.
Jó reggelt. Yeah, I'm actually same name. I'm Agnes Oragi. I'm from Hungary. Yeah. Well, I'm really happy to be here. I'm practicing Iyengar yoga. It's only, compared to you guys, I hear you are teachers. And I started the mentoring program this spring. And as you said, Agi, it's one of the books that we need to read. So I was so happy when this program came across. Yeah, and the Tree of Yoga already made a big impact on me, and also I just really consider that we can somehow it's entering into my everyday life, and that's amazing for me. So I'm here to learn and listen to you, and yeah, I'm really just happy for this opportunity. So that's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I speak?
Roger, you can go. And then
But
Radia.
I'm here to learn and get some knowledge about the philosophy. And to me, it's easier to roll out the mat and do the practical things. It's difficult for me to read the entire book. So it's a great help for me, and I gain some discipline by your way of dividing the book and guiding us through. So that's mainly, and I'm looking very much forward.
Thank you.
Hi.
Radia.
Yeah, it's very difficult to read the entire book. Your system is it's easier for us to read. We have divided into 4 parts. So when we see the book, no, it's very difficult as if we finish the book in this much time and all. So once you have divided the book, it's easier for us to read. And otherwise, the reading habit has gone actually. So it's very helpful for us. Thank you very much for your work and your effort. And we are beginning to learn a lot from you. Thank you very much.
Thank
I'm
you,
Parimala, Parimala from India.
Thank you, Parimala. Agya, I hope you're not driving.
No, I'm not driving actually, but I'm in the car. So I just, I saw that you had wanted me to talk, but I'm actually in the car with my 1-year-old, so I missed that. But anyways, I have been following your work for a while. I've read a few of your research papers also on academia. So I was really excited to join this book club because although I have been looking at all of the Iyengar books and especially this yoga for women for many years, but I feel like there's so much that you can just constantly look at. You can read it many times, but still there's so much. And I feel like the experience of reading it alone is very different, from reading it, like, let's say, as a practitioner or as a scholar or in a group, So I think it just brings out so much more, so many layers of these books. And that's why I'm really excited. I really wanted to join this, because I just feel like it's going to be a wonderful experience and give new insight into this work. And I really appreciate the reading companion also, because I really think it's like, really well thought and really well put together. So yeah, so I think I'm really looking forward to like this structured way of reading the book, and like thinking that it's going to impact my asana practice also, and just my understanding of yoga for women. So yeah, thank you for doing this. I'm really excited about it.
Thank you, Pragya.
Thank you.
I'm going to read Kuka from the chat. So yoga is one of my favorite subjects, and the chance to meet my global community and share thoughts is a blessing. Thank you. Thank you, Kuka. Okay. Sarah? Sarah? Would you like to talk? You're unmuted.
I'm just really happy to be here as well. I live quite far away from other Iyengar teachers, and I find sometimes it's quite isolating. And I'm really interested in the philosophy aspect that you're teaching, and the way that you've broken down the planning and the study of the book. So I'm really looking forward to that, and really appreciate and value other people being involved and making a community of this. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Are you from Ireland?
Ireland, yeah.
Okay, I got right the accent.
You got the accent right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm happy with your feedback. It sounds that everyone is quite open to whatever the book brings, which is great. I just want to emphasize that open communication is key. It is key in teaching yoga. It is key in learning, and it is key in our process. So I'm available through WhatsApp. I have an email, Facebook. I'll try to answer whatever you will send my way. So please do. If you have questions, if you have ideas, everything that happened here is basically an exchange of ideas. So the Yoga Reader's Guide came from people asking me how it's working. And the reading companion also, well, that was my idea. But then I asked for help from other Yoga Reader members, and they gave me some feedback. And thank you for that. Some words that weren't as natural for the English speakers. And I changed. So this product is also coming through the help of members of Yoga Readers. And I just want to mention that when we started this, I didn't even think about Zoom sessions. That was a request from members. I didn't think of a Facebook group. That was another request from members. The newsletter was a request from members. So please keep on requesting, and this thing will keep on growing. So let's begin the reading of Yoga, a true gem for women. And this book is a gem by itself. And we'll stay in touch then through our different platforms. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.